Hello and welcome to another episode of Snapchat or Marvel Snap podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Logan.
And I'm the other one, Nate.
Nate, man, you know, I always enjoy recording these because we record these in batches.
That's good. Yeah, we do. Good.
That is good. That is good. I'm glad, I enjoy these recordings. It would be bad if I didn't. But it's always fun to just kind of think and speculate, because for those who don't know, a little peek behind the curtain, if you will. We record 2 episodes in one night, and then we release them, over the course of the next 2 weeks. And I'm always like, man, what is the climate of Marvel Snap going to be when we release this second episode, right? Because it's going to be interesting, because the thing that we're going to be talking about on this episode is just setting healthy boundaries, goals, how to deal with burnout and things like that in Marvel Snap. And I'm wondering if by the time this episode releases on public feeds, if we're going to need to listen to the episode ourselves to remind ourselves how to deal with burnout, because we're just sick of getting leeched. We're sick of Thanos. We're sick of Galactus,
I'm so tired of seeing Scorpion 3 times in the same game.
You're sick of going to Luke's bar and Scorpion's just there grinning at you with an evil grin. Yeah.
Hard out, pal. Hard out.
I hear you, man. What's that thing you say? Suck farts?
Suck farts. Take your cube and go suck farts.
Yep. I hear you, man. I know that feeling. But yeah, with that being said, though, again, before we get into the show itself, thanks again to all of you that are watching the content on YouTube, that are subscribing, that are following us on Twitter, interacting with us, going over the TRG Discord, talking about, Marvel Snap, sharing your decks over there. It's always a good time. Just kind of fun to see the wild combinations that people can come up with. I think some people have forgotten that Marvel Snap is a deck building game, and what you're supposed to do is try out different cards, goof around with the decks, but it seems like all people really want to play anymore is Shuri and a Red Skull or Galactus, and I feel like I'm just telling on myself at this point because I like playing Galactus, but I do like to get funky from time to time and play a Mr. Negative deck.
If you've got it, flaunt it. It's kind of like that's
true.
So yeah,
I think what's been fun for me is to watch people get Galactus and then watch them try to play Galactus really well. And I've been playing Galactus for a little over a month now, maybe 2 months. And I'm like, you're not doing this right. Don't play Galactus in an open lane like you just did, because I know you're going to put a big card there, and guess what's going to be waiting for it? Shang-Chi. And then I'm going to win because all your cards are gone. Which is, I get it. You get a new card, you're excited, especially when it's one of the big bads of Marvel Snap, and you want to play around with it. And you got to learn. You got to go through the steps that we all do. But it's just fun. It's always like, oh, you poor summer child. Shang-Chi, right? Sure, you can.
Every failure is an opportunity to learn. So
There you go. What's that thing that Jake the dog says on Adventure Time? Sucking at something is halfway to being good at something.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something.
Jake the dog, it's like sucking at something is the first step at someday maybe being good at that thing.
That's it. Yeah, man. What a show, Adventure Time, man. I think that's one of the reasons why I like the Dan Hip variants so much, is because they remind me of Adventure Time so much. And I'm like, gosh, this is just good times. Yeah. Man. Good memories.
It's got that a very similar sort of aesthetic. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
it's good times, man. Good times. Good times. Well, speaking of good times, man, one of the things, like I said, the topic for this episode is just healthy approaches to Marvel Snap. Because I'm going to be honest with you, as Nate and I were trying to come up with ideas for the episodes that we do, this one kind of stuck out to me, and I think it kind of stemmed from something that Nate had said. But it's like, man, I said in episode 1 of this show that I have never wailed so hard on a game before in my life. Right? Nothing. I don't think anything really comes close to Marvel Snap, if I'm being completely honest. I actually sat down one day and just was like, I'm going to go through all the charges and total up how much money I've spent in this game, just to give me a nice reality check. And it was so sobering that I could feel myself go back in time to pass Logan and just punch him in the throat so hard that
what
it's
is wrong with you?
like I felt it in the current time. I was like, man, that was so dumb. And I think, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about healthy approaches with this game. I'll tell y'all right now, and this is just being transparent. It is not worth spending almost $1,000 in this game. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, which is nuts. Yeah. You know, and it's crazy because with these games, and again, this is why I don't like mobile games. You know, you think, you know, you're just buying $10 at a time, you know, it's like, it's not that big. Right. But then when you add it all up, you're like, oh crap. What, how did this happen? And let me tell you, just because you get tokens and you get these sweet little variants, right, doesn't make you any better of a player at all. Yeah. At all. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about is healthy approaches to Marvel Snap, mainly just being birthed out of this very sobering moment in my own life, playing this game, deleting it off of my iOS devices because it's stupid easy to spend money on there. You just, you know, click the amount you want. It scans your face. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. You're off to the races. But only playing it on Steam now because there's a lot of steps to buying stuff on Steam. It's not as easy as your phone scanning your face. But it's just, man, that's what I want to talk about this episode is just healthy approaches to Marvel Snap. And I think not even just financially, but just when it comes to approaching the game and just having fun with the game. I know at least the last 2 episodes, definitely episode 4, we were probably a little more critical on Marvel Snap, and 5, we kind of got a little bit into that, with just how the meta's getting stale. And it's just like, man, it's so cutthroat with these top tier decks that we sometimes forget to just like have fun with the game, right? We can still have our complaints about the game, but if we're not having fun with the game, what's the point in playing it anymore? You know what I mean?
I think part of the problem that exists is that the only sort of casual mode is the battle mode, which is fine, but you actually need to have like somebody willing to step in. They need to sort of put it in a casual mode because if every like, and don't get me wrong, I like to climb just as much as everybody else, but sometimes I just need to be able to like tool around with a deck, like have some fun, see if I can get the trick to work, you know? And I think that because the main game is so just competitive all the time and watching like losing those cubes, you know, it feels like I'm having a stroke.
Yeah, especially when it's 8 cubes. That's a pretty heavy loss.
8 cubes, and it's like my fault. Like I played stupid. Like my brain went like that is like I'm just like, oh, just it's like someone just like take me out back and shoot me kind of thing, you know. It's it's like I'm
maybe not that extreme. I just delete the game off the system because I'm like, we're done. We're done for a while. Like I knew I should have played Arlen Zola and I played Taskmaster instead and lost.
Yeah, like that. But I think there's some things that though, we can as players just do to just engage in healthier sort of rhythms because like I know personally for me, like I don't tend like there are certain types of games I don't play, right? Because they're competitive in nature. And I know I seem like, you know, yes, I've got spicy takes, but for the most part, I seem like pretty laid back. I don't play fighting games anymore because I broke a controller over my knee.
Yes.
So
dude, oh my gosh, I know that feeling so well.
Yeah. And it's like, I just kind of like, I want, so for me, it's like, it's very important to like, when I see those things sort of rising up, and I actually had a friend reach out to me and say like, Nate, he's like, I'm listening to you talk about Snap and like, you are getting like super agitated. And I was like, oh, I am like, and part of it was that I had just sort of like put, I think a little too much emphasis on it. I had sort of like gotten caught up in the cycle, like, cause there's that fear of missing out kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like, it's very much like all of your brain is just like, oh no, I have to like, and especially the last week of last season, it was like, oh, gotta climb.
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something about that it's like it can be very stressful. It can be very sort of like and given the nature of this game and how sometimes like the RNG can actually just feel like the RNG, like, dude. And again, I use the term like, I got Mario Karted. Like there was I was playing the other day and it was like 5 games in a row where it's like, it just gave me completely unplayable boards. I was like, for real. Real. It's like, oh, you're going to give me every 5 and 6 drop in my hand for the next 4 turns.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like,
thank you. Thank you. May I have another? Oh, a 5 cost. Oh, thank you so much, RNG. You're too kind.
It's like, oh, this is great. Like, and there's just a cube just like down the toilet.
My opponent played Baron Mordo and my 1 cost is now 6. Oh, fantastic. Oh, what a lovely day. What a lovely day.
But it's like you said, the game is supposed to be fun. Yeah. And if it's only fun when you're winning, like, I'm going to say like, you're probably not playing it right.
Yeah. Man, to echo on that and sorry to interrupt, but like, man, that was a big thing for me when I first started out. Not the first month, but the second month, I was like, dude, I got to get to infinite. I got to get to infinite. I got to get to infinite. But then it's like, I just was not having fun, man. And I was like, this sucks to play. Cause when I'm winning, I'm like, cool, next one, bring me another victim. Right. And then I lose 8 cubes. I'm like, I'm the victim. Dang it. It's not, I don't know. Maybe for some people that's fun, but for me, who like, I am a highly competitive personality. It's like I mentioned a second ago, and agree with Nate. I don't play fighting games anymore because I would rage so hard online. Injustice 2 was a game that I played a ton of. I got really good at with Batman and Green Lantern. I know this is a Marvel Snap podcast. We're gonna talk about DC a little bit.
Oh no! No!
But man, like when I would lose online, I would rage so hard. That's why I don't play Call of Duty anymore, because I broke a headset playing it. I'm like, I'm not going to play this anymore. That was an overreaction, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, you got to just, I think what helps with that is just realize that at the end of the day, this is literally just a game. It doesn't change anything about you as a person, right? I mean, and there's just some days where like the RNG hits you wrong, or it's just not your best day in playing a game. It doesn't mean anything bad about you specifically, but it's just, you gotta not be so serious about it, I think, because I know we've both been guilty about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True story. Like, and it's a little more complicated, but this game has been part of a series of events that resulted in a phone being not just like thrown across the room, but like fastballed across the room. Like,
oh my gosh, you got hit that many times with a scorpion and you just chucked your phone?
Maybe, or no. So the situation was my wife and I, we have a newborn. He's almost 4 months old, but he was very like, he has acid reflux, and when he was like, before he was on medicine for that, he would cry like all the time. And so you have a newborn, you're not sleeping a whole lot, and then he's like, when he's awake, he's just screaming. So you have that going on. My wife and I, we also have a cat and a dog, and the dog is she can kind of be a little needy, and then the cat is a cat, and so she can be kind of a jerk. So I have the boy, I'm feeding the boy, he's fed, he's like calmed down for a few minutes. Dog needs to go outside, so I go put the dog out. The boy is at that point in time like agitated. He starts crying again. And like, I had just like, I was like, playing, I'm holding the boy in one hand, I'm playing Marvel Snap in the other. And then my cat, just for whatever reason, is like, oh, hey, now I'm going to bite you. And it was like one of those things where I lost 8 cubes. The cat bit me, the boy was screaming, and the dog was annoying. And I was like, ah, like, tomahawked my phone across the house.
You're aiming for the cat, right? You're like, I'll show you.
No. As much as I wanted to punt my cat to the moon, it was like, that is not a good thing to do. What would have just been best is if I would have put my phone down and put the boy down and just went and screamed into a pillow or something. I don't know. But, but yeah, the whole thing, it can be part of a stress cycle, right? Where it's like, so there's an acronym I learned a long time ago, and it's HALT. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, hold off on something. And what I would say is if you are sort of like burning out on this game, don't play it when you're hungry. Don't play it when you're angry. Don't play it when you're lonely. And don't play it when you're tired. Because all three of those things, all four of those things will actually contribute to sort of an angrier, so like your irritability will shoot up. So that's like the easy one, right? But I think that you pointed, it's like if you are really discouraged by like the climbing, stop climbing. Do your dailies. Go back to having fun with the game. Yes, obviously try not to lose your cubes because that feels bad. But like don't make the big snaps, don't get crazy, just play the game, have fun, go back to the basics.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's what I did for a while because I felt myself getting burnt out at the end of last season and was just like, I'm just not enjoying this anymore, you know? And so that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hop on, do the dailies. You know, there's a challenge to do play 1-cost cards. I'm going to run a kazoo deck, you know, just to play something totally different, totally random. And I won a couple matches off there. I'm like, oh okay. That's kind of cool. Oh, there's Killmonger. Oops, you know, but it's like, you know, it's just that thing of, I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a game, right? And I think the way that the game is designed is, of course, to keep you playing. And in some ways, it's to keep you spending money. But when it gets to a point where it's just getting too much, that's when, you know, you need to put it down for a while and just be like, man, it's just crazy. And I'll be honest, you know, we were talking, I'm skipping around a little bit here. Let me get back on track for 1 second here. You know, part of the reason why I wanted to have the favorite card highlights in there at the end of every episode is to just, you know, kind of talk about some cards that maybe some people aren't playing a whole lot of, and to just maybe get people to play something a little different and to just try something different that might wind up being really fun. You know, I hope people are using Goose more in their decks, because after the last episode, it would just be cool to see people using more Goose, and then that screws up a lot of these top tier meta decks. That's like, you can't play a 5-cost here. You know, you're gonna have to try really hard now to get this card, to get that card in this lane, because it's not going to happen because you got a furry, angry cat staring at you. You know, it's not going to happen.
It's like a weird space tentacle cat.
Yeah. Gosh, that animation is so cool when you try to put a card there and like the tentacle thing comes out. Oh, dude, it's a really cool, and and see, that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to do this show too, is so we can talk about some of the things we love about Marvel Snap that maybe people have forgotten, like the animations being one is really cool. You know, it sucks that Cyclops is not as good a card as he is, because when you go to play him, you have the eye beam shooting out on the board, which is so cool, and you don't see that. And I guess that's probably another thing that it would just be a nice, like, healthy approach to the game, is like, take a look at the animations, listen to the sounds that play with certain cards, and like be like, oh, that's actually really cool at how they did some of these things. Like, some of these animations are really good. I will still say that Galactus has probably the best animation in the whole game, with how he zooms out, lasers a planet. You know, it's not fun getting Galactus, right? But the animation's cool. You know, watching Wolverine get destroyed and come back.
I just got Kanged the other day. That animation, I was like, oh, did not change anything. I still lost the game. But like that animation was pretty wild. You know who's I kind of like his animation or his effect is Vision. When you move him, you get like that like laser beam kind of thing that he does. I like that. I like
shoots
that.
out on the board. And how even when you start a turn, he just kind of levitates there, and the card has like these like yellow traces of like electricity that go through. It's really cool. So I mean, that's another thing, is just kind of I mean, dude, that's one of the things that I think is so cool about the game is, yes, the variants are cool. No, you should not be buying them with real money. Do not do that. I mean, do what you want, I guess, but it's at the same time, don't do it. Like, just looking at some of the art that they've done for some of these variants is so stinking cool. I think I bring up Dan Hit variants almost every episode at this point. I love them so much. I think they are so good looking, you know?
For me,
it's just look at the cards.
the Dan Hip ones are really good. I really like the Art Germ ones.
I was about to say, yeah, I'm looking at an Art Germ Scarlet Witch right now.
I picked up the Art Germ White Queen.
That's a good one.
White Queen's just a great card. Like the other day, I was seriously debating whether or not I wanted the Art Germ Carnage, because that's
one I have. It's really, really cool.
That one's like, that might be one of my favorite cards. I don't play Carnage all that often, even though he is a great card, but it's like, oh man.
Yeah. So. I managed to unlock, Venom is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I got the one where I don't know if it's Art Germ. Let me pull it up. No, it's just Variant. It's done by Kale. I'm gonna butcher his last name. But he's like holding the wrestling belt with his tongue out.
Yeah.
That one's really cool. But I got one that I saw the YouTuber Molt actually play, and it's a Kim Jacinto one. Where he's got like kind of a small head, but like he's so huge. It reminds me of like Ultimate Spider-Man Venom. So cool looking, dude. I'm looking at it right now. I'll have it up on YouTube.
Kim Jacinto's Surfer variant is probably one of my favorite cards.
That one's a really good one too. 100%. 100%. But yeah, it's just, man, I think that's one of the things that maybe people kind of lose sight of when it comes to this game from time to time. Maybe people don't care, but it's like, look at the cards, man. Look at the cool artwork, because I don't know, man. I think this is the first time in a while I've actually just kind of gone through my collection and looked at the cards I have. And I'm like, man, this is really cool artwork. Yeah. I have a black and white Professor Agatha Harkness one because I split it so much. I finally got it. And yeah, that's right. I played Agatha Harkness that much to split it to get an inked variant. But
I was going to say, dude, you were playing Agatha decks? What?
Dude, I'll tell you this right now. Going back to having fun with the game, you want to have fun with the game, build yourself an Agatha Harkness deck and just watch what happens. You may not win a whole lot of matches, but there's sometimes she might surprise you and she might win you a game. It's nuts.
I dipped out of a game because somebody was playing an Agatha deck. They waived, and then what's the one that gives you like when you play a card there, it gives your opponent a copy of that. I
can't remember what it is, but I know what it is. Yeah. The
machine yard or whatever it is.
Like a sentinel something.
She dropped herself in that lane and gave me Agatha. And I was like, no, thank you.
I've had that happen to me before too. And I'm just like, what the heck? Are you kidding me? That is so evil, but so good at the same time.
Like, the thing is, like, she's so dumb 90% of the time, but that's like the one time she's like, oh no, hey, check this out.
Yeah. She's slightly smarter than Ego. Yeah, but man,
Ego. Oh, dude. Well, there was one time like I because like, Ego pops up, you snap, right? And so I snapped, the other person snapped. Oh, I always snap on the first turn.
And I don't anymore. I don't anymore because I always lose when Ego comes up.
I wrote it out until like the 5th turn. And then I was like, nope. Like this is just, it was like one of those things where it's like, and again, the Mario cardification of it. It's like, he's like playing like all this great stuff in the other person's deck. And like, I'm like, hey, play this card. He's like, I will not. Like, or I'm going to put like freaking, I'm going to put Venom on Space Throne. And I'm like, don't put Venom there. Like that's not where Venom belongs, or whatever it was. But it was just like, we got to like turn 4 or 5. And I was like, just take the 4 cubes. I can't give you 8, man. Not on this. Not on this.
Not like this, man. Not like this. But yeah, no, man, that's so funny. And so, I mean, that's a long way of just saying, that's kind of why we do, a card highlight. We're going to do favorite decks this episode here in a little bit, or just a favorite deck, just to try it out. I know you may not win a lot of cubes and you may not gain ranks a lot with some of the decks we'll talk about, but it's like, just have fun with the game, just goof around a little bit.
And I think that's part of it is like, we all probably play net decks. Like I pull off like every once in a while I'll go and I'll see like, hey, what's like big in the meta? And I look around and I dig around, and if I see something that is like, oh no, I like these cards, I like that interaction, like I'm going to try this out. Yeah. But I am more of a tinkerer. Like I like to build stuff. I have 20 decks almost all the time. And then I have to drop like 10 that I haven't played in a while. Like I have 3 or 4 that probably just never get pulled just because
I had to go through and just prune a lot of decks down to where I had like 7 because it got nuts. I was like, man, there's some decks in here. I'm like, when did I even make this? I don't remember this one.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like I have like a few that like some of the first decks that I really like did some serious climbing and winning with. And like I have an Infinite deck. I have obviously the one that I reference all the time, Cat Scratch Fever. Like I have a few of those that I'm like, no, this isn't going anywhere because like this was the first time where like something just like really clicked with me and kind of, but yeah, I'm constantly building stuff. And I would say like, dude, like if you have like a weird idea and like build the deck and see if you can get the trick to work.
Yeah.
The problem is that in order to climb, you have to have a deck that sort of does everything. And there are a few of those, and those are the decks that are really strong in the meta right now. But like I said, I think like it's cool. And it's like, we were talking about it earlier. I was playing stuff and I was like, I lost probably like 4 or 5 ranks today. I got them back. But, it's like I lost 4 or 5 ranks today. And some of it was like stupid playing. Some of it was just like I was trying to make something work. And that's really frustrating, but it's like I said, I'm hopeful that there will be a casual mode where it's like you can just say, like, I don't want to wager cubes. I just want to play a few hands and sort of like maybe see if I can get this thing to work.
100%.
But I mean, play around with it. Like I'll be honest, guys, there's a deck that I am trying to make it's not working, but I want it to so bad. It's a Mr. Negative Venom combo deck. And I can't get it to do what I want it to.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I could see that popping off with just the right things, but man, that seems a little crazy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Get crazy with it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's one of those things like, I've also tried to do a Sarah. Like I really like Venom right now. And I really like Venom because I wanted to like, freaking Nimrod. Jack Jigglypuff. And so I was like, I was like, oh, Venom and he's just a great card. Like Venom.
Yeah.
Like what's really kind of fun with him is like, I actually like playing him with my Red Skull decks because I don't need to disenchant. I can just eat Skull.
Just eat him up.
Like, and if I can wave Skull out or something, I can eat him. You lose that 8 and then I can just, I've got a big fat Venom that I can Arnhem Zola into the other lanes.
Yeah. I always like putting Venom and Red Skull into a ramp deck. So you ramp with Electro and then get Red Skull out. Venom eats Red Skull and then you Arnhem Zola Venom into the other lane. So he avoids a Shang-Chi, but he also eats whatever's in the other lanes, getting even beefier. And it's just a good it's just a good time to watch, man. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But I'm going to use that to transition into this. Yeah. And this is something that I thought for a while. And then I got the cards and realized this did nothing for me. I want people to stop thinking that if you get Thanos or Galactus, you're going to skyrocket to infinite. Just because those are the top performing meta cards doesn't mean jack. Because I thought the same thing when I got Galactus. I was like, dude, I'm going to skyrocket to infinite. No one else has Galactus. I've got this. The problem is you don't know how to use that card. If you don't understand some of the fundamentals of the game and how to really link some of these cards together and how to avoid certain things and know when to tap and when to snap, getting those cards isn't going to do anything for you. Right. Yeah. You have to like actually play around and get good. It kind of reminds me of Spider-Man. What is it? It's not No Way Home. It's Homecoming a little bit. When Peter Parker's using the suit and all this stuff and he's like overriding it and doing all this and he actually winds up doing more damage with the boat because he's trying to hold it together, but it's because of his actions that led to that. Iron Man's just like, I'm taking your suit. He's like, well, I'm nothing without my suit. And he's like, if you can't do any, like, oh man, what was that line? It's so good with how it's worded. It's like, if you're nothing without the suit, you didn't deserve it in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with some of these cards. Like, just because you get Galactus doesn't mean you're going to be awesome at the game all of a sudden. Because when I got Galactus, I was missing cards like Null, Valkyrie. I didn't really understand priority very clearly when it came to playing Galactus. Pro tip, if you get Galactus, do not play him in an open lane. Play him in a lane where your opponent will have priority, so that way they can't Shang-Chi the big stuff that you want to drop. That's the thing that people seem to kind of not understand about Galactus. If you're going to play him in an open lane, be sure you've got something to kind of help you out there, a Cosmo or something. So your big stuff doesn't get tanked, but just play in a lane where your opponent maintains priority and you're going to be fine. 9 times out of 10, you'll be all right. Unless you don't get the good card pulls at that point, just duck out. But I mean, even with that, it's even with like the control decks. If you don't know, like if you're not paying attention to the board and you don't know where to play Storm properly, don't even bother playing her, But again, this goes back to experimenting with the cards and trying to figure things out. And at the same time, going back to the advice we shared in episode 2, find the one type of deck that you really like and stick with it and try to learn the ins and outs of it and try to tweak it a little bit to give it your own kind of unique personality as well.
And while you're doing that, sort of look for the fun in it. Like look for the tricks, look for the neat interactions, and I don't know. I really think like learning to play a deck well is tough, but it's right. But it actually, when you do it, it makes the game a little more fulfilling, because then like you didn't just sort of like, there's a way that like, and I'm not trying to say this completely, there's a whole lot of stuff in it, but like lockjaw decks are basically just like hit the slot. Like it's just hitting the slots, baby.
It's casino. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what's going to pop out, but and usually if you're playing me, it's the worst possible thing. Like you're going to like turn 3 leech me or something, which makes me very sad. But so there's that. But yeah, I think, like I said, it's like, go back to like, sort of look for what I would even say is like, look for a deck that actually you would just enjoy playing, not because it wins for you, but because you like setting it up, because you like the sort of like the construction, you like the trick, because every one of these decks has a trick or two. And if you don't like the trick, then don't play the deck. And if it's not the most winning deck in the world, well then, you have an opportunity to sort of become more of a finesse player. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, as we transition into our next topic here, I'm going to end it with this. Don't buy excessive amounts of gold with cash. All right. Don't do that. Save up your gold, use it, and then use that to either buy the bundles, or get a bit of a discount on the bundles that you're wanting. Maybe you only got to spend 10 instead of the 30, that sort of thing. Save up your gold. Don't use it on refreshing your daily missions. Don't use it on variants if you can help it. Save that crap up so you can get the stuff that you really want. And I mean, there's data mining stuff dropping every month. I mean, you can see what bundles are going to be dropping that month. So, okay, I'm going to save up for this bundle and then save up for this bundle and then go from there. Be smart about it. Don't be an idiot like I was. Okay. Learn from my mistakes. Or if you're going to ball hard, I guess ball hard, but it is what it is. I'm just trying to help you out. You can drop a ton of money into this game and it still isn't going to make you a better player. It might get you the cards you want a little bit faster, but it's not,
well, not and if that's the thing that like makes you happy with the game, then like, pay all of, the developers' bills for them.
There you go. And make the game free for everybody else. Right?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, we've all done that. And like, there are certain variants where I'm like, I need a few hundred gold on that. Like, like we'll just, go ahead, snap some of that up. So but I
hear you.
Practice a little bit
of variant.
Well,
sorry. What,
I was just going to say, practice a little bit of like restraint. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Be smart, be wise, and all that jazz. But Nate mentioned variant. That's a great segue into a returning segment. Ah, yes. Very nice. where we look at a variant in Marvel Snap and just admire it. Now, the last time we did this, I pulled a little switcheroo on Nate. And we looked at the pixel variant for MODOK, which is him like literally after he just ate some Taco Bell shooting fiery lava out of the bottom of his chair.
Oh, none of those pixel variants are very nice. They're all most of them are pretty gross. That one's especially egregious.
Absolutely. So, but like last time, it's going to be a random card, a random variant that Nate doesn't know what I'm picking, and we're just gonna look at it and admire it. And Nate, I can tell you, man, this is a good one. I promise you, this is a good one. You're gonna enjoy it. I'm looking at it right now. You might be very familiar with it. I've got it pulled up, man. Let's admire this card. What do you think?
It's solid. I like it. Yeah, it's very nice.
Just solid.
It's very nice. It's
okay. It's very nice.
As the segment is titled, yes,
that's true.
Very, very nice.
This is very nice. Very nice. It's very nice to see it inked like this. I think it fits with it. Gives it a little bit of a horror vibe. But it works. It works.
Yo.
Do you know what I'm talking about now?
Are you talking about the inked version of my boy? Okay.
I told you I was looking you up.
That is not just very nice. That is S tier, baby.
Yeah.
S tier.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really good.
Oh, so good.
I'm going to be honest. So I've gotten a few inked variants before, and it's been hard for me to upgrade these because I like it where it's black and white, and then you just have the gray trim around it still. It fits really well. But then like you convinced me to level up the Devil Dinosaur one, and I've got this green border around it with this swirly stuff going around. I'm like, different colored borders are pretty sick around it too. It's nice. Yeah. He's very imposing, very scary, very cool,
dude. The inked version of that, totally throws off like the sort of like the pulpy like horror vibes. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. I need to level it up so I get the red animated frame around it because I think that'll really set it off. But yeah, man. It's good stuff. I told you I was going to hook you up this episode.
Yeah,
man.
There you go. There you go, buddy.
But man, as we start winding down the episode, by the way, listeners, let us know what some of your favorite variants are in the comments on YouTube. Let's talk about, we may not have time for multiple decks, but let's talk about at least like one of our favorite decks that we just go to play just for kicks and giggles, man, just to have some fun with.
Okay. I've got one in mind. So this is a deck that I built sort of recently, and I call it How Zabu Got His Groove Back. Right. So obviously it's going to have Zabu in it. But it's got Agent 13. It's got Korg. It's got Quinjet. It's got Zabu. It's got Agent Coulson. It's got Darkhawk. It's got Shang-Chi, Moon Girl, Rockslide, Devil Dino, Arrow, and She-Hulk.
Nice.
And what I really like about this is that Coulson sort of feeds he gives you a 4-drop and a 5-drop. So you've got, potential like combos there with She-Hulk. It's got 2 of the best tech cards in the game, Shang-Chi and Arrow. Like it's just got Agent 13. And then with Quinjet, all that stuff comes out a little cheaper. You throw in like Zabu, like, dude, the deck gets really silly. I can play a bunch of cards really quick. And even if I get stuck, if I'm playing a Sandman, I've got some big, beefy, gnarly stuff that I can play Devil Dino, if you're making me hold a bunch of cards in my hand. And I can like I said, with Darkhawk's going to be really useful against like the decks, like the Thanos decks, because they have those like 5 or 6 extra cards in it. He gets pretty big, pretty beefy. Usually throw him out at the end. And then of course I'm feeding you rocks, and so it's one of those things. And then, like I said, between Agent 13 and Coulson, it's always going to throw like some weird surprises at me. And I'm like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah. Again, Agent Coulson is a card I called out a couple episodes ago, man.
Dude, he's so good. He's so good.
So good. Well, that's good, man. I like that a lot. My deck that I'm going to share, and this is one I mentioned earlier in the episode. I'm a robotics teacher, and currently we're learning about AI and just kind of how that's becoming more and more prominent in our society. Just with things like we've seen it before. It's what recommends videos for you on YouTube, TikTok, ads on Facebook, and things like that. It's probably in your phone. If you have an iPhone, it's Siri. I don't know what the Android equivalent is, but I thought, with Chat GPT being a big thing, and you got college students having an AI write their papers for them, which is a terrible thing to do. Don't do that. The next step is to just let an AI play Marvel Snap for you. And that's why I'm bringing in my AI Professor Harkness deck to y'all right now. The cards that are in this is Blade, Wave, Lady Sif, Dracula, Jubilee, Ghost Rider, Hellcow, Hela, Apocalypse, Magneto, Agatha, Harkness, and the Infinite. Really what this is, it's just like, how quickly can you kill Agatha so you can play the rest of the deck? Because really what it is, it's just a discard deck. It's a Hela discard deck, but with Agatha in it. It's been fun. It's not the most consistent thing ever, but it is fun to just see kind of what kind of goofy plays Agatha plays. And there's times where Lady Sif will get played, kill Agatha. I'll drop Ghost Rider on the next turn. He pulls Agatha down for a nice little 17 power in a lane, and they don't expect it. They're like, wait, what the heck? Other cards are getting discarded, drop Hela at the end of the game. More cards are showing up, and people just don't see it coming, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I mean, Agatha is like one of those things that if you're going to play an Agatha deck, Wave and Sif have to be in there.
Yep.
Pretty much like they are almost like mandatory. But like you just leaned it, you were like full like, no, let's just make this like, this is like discard anarchy chaos. Like I'm just going to pull on the roulette. Like I'm just going to pull on, I'm going to spin the roulette wheel. I'm going to pull on the lever. We're going to Vegas, baby.
Yep. It's a good time, man. It's the deck that I play when I don't want to think about what I have to play. I just let an AI do it for me. So it's a good time, man. That's how I got my Agatha Harkness inked variant, was because I just played that so much one day. I was like, I'm just going to play this exclusively for like a couple days and just have fun with it.
Yeah, that is fun, man.
Yeah, I'll have fun with that. I will include the copy and paste things to those decks in the show notes for this episode. So if you want to try either of these decks out for yourself, you'll be able to and kind of mess around with it and see what you think, and maybe have some fun with Marvel Snap. Maybe that's something we've all kind of forgotten every now and then. But with that being said, thank you all for listening to this episode of Snapchat, or Marvel Snap podcast. As always, you can follow us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share them, comment, do all that jazz. Share with us some of your favorite decks as well. Obviously, if it's a top performing meta deck, we know what those are. But if you have some wild, crazy deck, let us hear about it. I'd be curious to know. I will say this: I am fascinated by move decks. I'm not anywhere smart enough to play them, but I'm fascinated by them, man. They're crazy.
Move is big brain. Like,
yes,
I know like Heimdall is like the big play. But there are so many, and I think one of the things I really like to see is I'd like to see Move get a few more shakers and, movers. I'd like to see them get like a little, because like Move is it's just so hard to pin down. And even when you think like, dude, nothing, it's just, I can't play it because like I don't have the patience for it. But like move is like the people who dominate with move decks, they're the real OGs.
Yeah, 100%. It's impressive to watch these things pop off. But anyway, as always, you can follow us on Twitter at SnapchatterPod. But Nate, where can the lovely folks that are listening to this podcast find you as well if they want some spicy takes or to just be like, man, what's Nate playing?
Yeah, if you pretty much on all the socials, on PlayStation, wherever, sort of wherever I'm gaming, wherever I'm sort of like tweeting or posting or whatever, it's Nate_McKeever for the most part. So I'm there, and there's right now like on my Instagram and all that, there's a lot of like baby stuff. On Twitter, I'm posting pictures of the boy. I'm home with him for a few weeks. And then like on Twitter, I'm just like, I'm posting weird plays. Like weird plays are like, if I have to take out some trash, like, and
I still cannot get over you beating an Infinite in a lane with Orca. That is one of the most wild things I've seen in this game. Dude, it's crazy.
The opportunity arose, I was like, I'm going to throw Orca down on this. Like, I'm just going to do it. It's like, I can have a big, nasty Orca on this. And I'm like, it took a lot of work to get it. And then when they pulled Infinite into that lane, I was like, Orca just beat out an Infinite. What is going on here?
Yep. That's nuts, man. I think I might start doing that is like build a deck that looks like I'm playing Galactus, but what I'm really working towards is a turn 6 big beefy Orca, just dropping that on a lane. Just to watch what happens.
Shuri your Orca. Yeah, that's what you got to do, man.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to mess around with that. We talked about having fun with this game. I'm going to try and see if I can get that.
Let's try to make Orca not suck. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Gosh. I'll say this. I love Orca. He may be dumb, but I love Orca. I don't care what anybody says.
He's a dude in a whale suit kind of thing.
He's a dude in a killer.
He's a whale person. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good time, man. It's a good time. Well, hopefully this episode has been a good time for you listening or watching. As always, thank you for checking out Snapchat or Marvel Snap Podcast. Leave us nice reviews on your podcast app of your choice. Interact with the polls over on Spotify. Leave us comments on YouTube, all that jazz. But with that being said, y'all keep on snapping and we'll see you in the next episode.